guys, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm cooking another pantry meal here. I found some sauerkraut in my freezer and it's already cooked, so I had frozen that I think back in January, so that needs to be used up. Now I'm making a vegetarian version of this, but you know, if you're a meat eater, you can use sausage, but I'm using vegetarian meat here. So, my camera's slipping here. Alright, so let me tell you what I have here. I have half a teaspoon garlic powder. I have 1 teaspoon yellow mustard. I have 3 tablespoons of breadcrumbs, which is about 1/4 cup. I have 1.5 teaspoons of, this is vegan, broth base and seasoning, and it's ham flavored. Okay, so instead of the sausage, this is what I'm using. I have some tempeh bacon here, chopped up, and that's 2 pieces. And I have about, I would say 1/3 cup, maybe 1/2 cup, depends on your taste, of green onion tops, and I'm using this instead of onions. You can use like a 1/3 of a small onion if you'd rather have that, but this is what I had, and they were getting really long and folding over, so I cut them off and I chopped them up. Okay, now this is what I'm using for my meat, and it's textured vegetable protein. Right now it's dry, and that's about 3/4 cup. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do now, I have some, make some room here. And I have about 1/3 of a block of cream cheese. Now if you're vegan, of course, use vegan cream cheese. But I'm vegetarian, so I'm just using regular cream cheese here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my vegan ham flavoring to hot water. And let that dissolve a little bit. Sorry about that. I'm having a problem here with my camera. It keeps wanting to slip. So I'm going to mix this up in here. And then I'm going to put it into my vegetable protein here. And I'm going to cover this up, and I'm going to let it sit for about 10 minutes. Now I don't know if it's going to absorb all that water, but if not, I'm going to drain this a little bit. But we want this to plump up and absorb all this flavoring. So like I said, I'm using this instead of sausage, but otherwise you use 1/2 pound of sausage. There you go, that's what that looks like for now. Otherwise you use 1/2 pound of sausage, and cook it with your onion and do it that way. Okay, I'm going to cover this up, and I'll be back in a little bit when that's done. Okay, so I've taken my sauerkraut and I drained it, because you don't want it wet. So I drained it. Well, there we are. And I'm going to put it in my little chopper here because I want it chopped fairly fine. So I'm going to stick that in here. Because right now it's pretty stringy, like sauerkraut is, and I don't want it that stringy. I want it a little finer, so you're not biting into the strings. But you want the sauerkraut fairly dry, and if you're making this from fresh sauerkraut, now this is sauerkraut that I had already cooked, So if you want it from fresh sauerkraut, you still should drain it. Okay, so there's that. And I'm going to chop this up. And this is pretty loud, so I'm just going to turn the machine off for a minute. And then I'll be back. Oops, sorry. I'll be right back. Okay, so I mixed this up and it's finer. I don't have those big strings anymore, so it's a little bit finer. Now what I'm going to do is, just to incorporate it, I'm going to add the cream cheese. And like I said, if you're vegan, either, put your homemade cream cheese in there, or you can buy vegan cream cheese. So I'm going to turn this off again, and I'll mix this up a little bit, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have it all mixed up, and this is my little Ninja blender. I really like this little thing. It's easy to clean. You just put it in there. It's got a few parts to clean, but anyway, so this is what it looks like. I mixed it up with the cream cheese, and you don't want to liquefy it. You still want some pieces of sauerkraut in there. So, all right, I'm going to put this in a bowl, and I'll be right back. Okay, my TVP is ready. I tasted it, and it needs a little something, so I'm going to add some of the smokehouse maple to it. Not too much, because the sauerkraut's already salty, and this is a little salty too, so I would say maybe, quarter teaspoon. And this is by McCormick. You can pick it up anywhere. So I'm going to give that a little mix. Now, of course, you don't have to do this if you're going to be putting sausage in. This is, the vegetarian version of it, or vegan. So, but if you're a meat eater, feel free to add your sausage. Like I said, half a pound. I'm going to give this a little taste. Yeah, that's good. Half a pound browned with your onion. That's what you want. So this tastes sort of like ham now. Okay. So I have my sauerkraut here with my cream cheese. And I'm going to add the half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Put that in. And I'm going to add the teaspoon of mustard. And this can all be to taste. If you like more mustard, then put more mustard in. Like I said, I really don't cook with a recipe. I just kind of taste and throw things in, but I know some people cook with a recipe, so I'm trying to be good. All right, and mix that up a little bit with your sauerkraut and cream cheese. And then you want to put a little salt and pepper on. Not too much salt, because the sauerkraut's already salty, the sausage is salty, but I am going to put some pepper in. My mother got me this pepper mill years ago, and look at the size of it. I mean, it is huge. It just goes on and on. So it must hold, half a pound of peppercorns in there, but I like it. It's fun to use. So anyway, that's that. So we've got the pepper in there. I'm going to put just a touch of salt, maybe. No, I'm not going to put salt, because actually the smokehouse maple has salt in it too. So now I'm going to add the green onion. I'll put all that in. And I'm not cooking this ahead of time, because green onion doesn't need to cook like regular onions do. They'll bake. I'm going to bake these instead of frying them, just because I don't eat too much fried food unless I go out, and then I get French fries, and of course, you know, that's all greasy too. So I'm going to mix that up a little bit. And these are my tempeh bacon bits, and if you eat meat, of course, cook up some bacon and put that in. That'll give it a good flavor. So in that goes. And then I'm going to add my TVP. Now you don't want any water running out of it, so I'm just going to see if this drains. And it did drain out a little bit of water, so you don't want all that water in here because then they're going to be mushy. So anyway, I'll put those in a minute. I think I'm going to drain those a little more, squeeze the water out. But in the meantime, I'm going to add my breadcrumbs. And this 1/4 cup, I don't know if that's going to be enough. After I get it mixed up, I'll know better. And I'm just using my Pantry homemade breadcrumbs that I made the video for. So that's what I'm using. And I really don't think a 1/4 cup is going to be enough. So I'm going to add another couple tablespoons in there. So that's about 5 tablespoons, almost 1/2 cup. You could probably use 1/2 cup and it'd be fine. Because the sauerkraut is wet, and that's better. Alright, I'm going to drain this TVP a little more, and then I'll be back. Okay, I drained my TVP a little bit, and all I did was put it in a sieve and let it drain, because it really had too much water in it. So now I'm going to add that to the mixture. And of course, you don't have to do that if you're using well, drain your sausage, so you don't want all that fat in there either. So anyway, that's that. Now I'm going to mix this up, and I'll see if it needs anything else. Because you want it to, I'm going to refrigerate this now for a good hour, and it'll firm up, and then, you know, you can make it into the balls. But I think that's going to be good. I don't know if you can see that or not. But that's kind of the texture you want. And if it's too wet, you can always add some more breadcrumbs, because that will soak up whatever water is. I'm going to taste this and see if it needs anything else. Very tasty. Okay, so I'll be back in about an hour. Isn't that a pretty bowl? I'll be back in about an hour or so, and then we'll make the balls. Okay. Well, I was just going through my fridge, and I have some cream cheese left over. And like I said, I'm having a party tomorrow for my mother's 90th birthday, and I'm trying to cook from my pantry. So we'll have the sauerkraut balls, and I want to use up the rest of this cream cheese. So I found in my refrigerator this pineapple and chili dipping sauce, Thai dipping sauce. So what I'm going to do is add it to the cream cheese, and I'm going to make a cracker dip out of it. So I have no idea. I'm flying by the seat of my pants here, which is how I roll. So I'm going to put, maybe a couple tablespoons of this in there. It's not real spicy. It's actually very good. It's sweet, but you can always add a little more heat if you have some Franks or something. And then my friend over at the channel Life with Patti was asking me about these measuring cups. And these measuring cups actually collapse. There's a whole set of them. So they're nice to store. And I got these at Walmart had them a couple years ago. And then also Aldi's carries them every now and then whenever the season is where they get their cooking supplies. So there you go, Patti. That's where I got them. And then this is how they're real easy to store. I have this little basket of goodies here. And they just store right in there. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. So that's where I got them. And if you get the chance, stop over and visit my friend over on Life with Patti. She's really a funny girl. She likes to cook too. She doesn't cook vegan or vegetarian. She and her husband are meat eaters. So, but she still has some good recipes. And a lot of times I like to veganize or make regular meals vegetarian if I like the other ingredients in a meal. So I'll do that. So there's a shout out to Patti. Hi, Patti. And I'm going to mix this up, and I think it'll be really good. So I just wanted to give you some ideas. You know, if you're having a party, look in your pantry. You don't have to go out and, spend $200 on food. Now, I'm going to have other things too, obviously. But, for snacks and hors d'oeuvres, that's what I'm going to serve. So I'll be back with the meatball or the sauerkraut balls in a little bit. All right, my dip is done. And I did end up, looks good, tastes really good. And I did end up putting some Frank's. In fact, I pretty much used up the bottle. The Frank's Red Hot, the original, in there. I put that in there. And then I put just a tiny sprinkle of red pepper flakes because I wanted it to be a little bit sweet hot. So anyway, use your leftovers. Cook with what you've got. Alright, it's been a couple of hours, and I have my little station set up here. I have an egg with a couple tablespoons of almond milk. I have some regular flour. And over here I have some panko breadcrumbs. And what I did was, I have a couple of these pans. They're for the little tarts. So I thought, well, maybe to keep them in a round ball, I would try baking them in there. So I sprayed this with coconut oil, and then I sprayed the top with coconut oil, and I baked them in the oven, 375, for about a half hour. So anyway, this is what they look like. I did a trial here. I didn't do them all yet, but they seem to be nice and crunchy. I haven't tasted them yet, so I'm going to give them a taste and see if they're good. I wanted to bake these instead of deep frying them just because, well, they already have cream cheese in them and they don't really need more fat, and I don't like frying foods too much. So I'm going to give these a try, and then if they're good, I'll come back and we'll make a few. So this is what it looks like inside. They're very crunchy, and actually they're really good. Well, there goes my eggshells are done. I've been saving eggshells, and I want to crush them up because I saw somewhere that crushing them up into a fine powder and putting them on your orchids will help your orchids bloom. So I'm going to give that a try. But anyway, I want to come up with some sort of a dip for these. They're very good. So I'm going to go ahead and make them that way. And I'll be back in a couple minutes and we'll make some. Okay, they were good. What I have here in my pantry, I had some lemon pepper panko. So I'm going to use that. And that goes well with sauerkraut because they're both lemony or peppery. And so anyway, I have my little cookie baller here. So you don't want to make these too big. So I'd say maybe the size of a walnut. And you want to make sure you squeeze them together so that they hold. So don't be afraid to mush them together. See, like that. Then I'm going to put them in egg. Roll it in an egg. Or if you're vegan, use a flaxseed egg and a little almond milk. This is a regular egg and almond milk. You can use flaxseed or you can use aquafaba. So in the flour, back in the egg, and this rolling them in the egg or egg substitute. You can use egg substitute it too if you're vegan. And then into the panko. And do a good coating on them. You want the outside nice and crunchy. So don't be afraid to put that coating on there. So this is what it'll look like. And then I'm going to put it in the little pan. And these are just the right size. So I'm going to go ahead and fill these up. And I put coconut oil in the pan so that they don't stick. And then I'm going to spray the top of these with some of this, I think this one's from Aldi's, the coconut oil, so that they get nice and crunchy. So anyway, I'm going to show you a couple more of these, and then I already showed you what they look like. And I'm going to get these ready for my party tomorrow. And hopefully the guests will like them. And I'll come up with some sort of a dipping sauce. I don't have any horseradish. This goes well with like a horseradish sauce. But since I don't have that, but I do have that pineapple chili sauce. And I have a little bit of sauce that has some heat in it that I really don't like the way it is. So I'm going to mix the two together. And I think that'll be tasty. But anyway, this is how you make vegetarian sauerkraut balls. It would be good with sausage too, as I said before, if that's what you like. Just make sure your ingredients are fairly dry before you mix it, because you don't want soggy sauerkraut balls. And they're very crunchy on the outside. So I'm going to do a couple more here. And they're a little bit of work, but not too bad. And I have one less thing in my pantry and in my refrigerator and freezer. So I'll do one more. And then I will post this. And hopefully you'll give it a try. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you did. I love interacting with my subscribers. I try to answer every comment. And it's just a lot of fun. So if you're frugal and you want some frugal tips whenever I learn something new, I like cooking from my pantry. I like getting bargains. So let's do this one. And then I did mention that you bake these at 375 for a half an hour. And then try one, see if it's done. You know, every oven is a little bit different. So, anyway, one more. I don't know if anybody has an easier way to do this part without this. Let me know in the comments below, because it is a little messy. But these are great, and even if you make them ahead of time, put them in your freezer, you know, freeze them on a cookie sheet. You can pop out a couple at a time, stick them in your oven, and you'll have a nice treat for when you have guests or if you just want a treat for yourself. Okay, my friends, I'm going to finish making these, and I hope you have a lovely weekend. Sun is finally shining here, so that's good. And as I said, please subscribe, like, share it on your social media, share it with your friends on YouTube, and please leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, love you guys. See you next time. One quick tip before I go. I ended up getting 24 sauerkraut balls out of the recipe that I made. And what I'm going to do is, since my party is until tomorrow, I'm going to leave these in the pan, and I'm just going to stick them in the fridge when they're cool, and then I'm going to put them in my toaster oven before my company gets here and heat them back up. So that'll save me some time, and they'll be all ready to go back in the oven. Then one other thing I wanted to show you real quick. Since I don't have horseradish for this, what I'm going to do, I looked in my little pantry or in my fridge, and again I found the pineapple chili dipping sauce. So I'm going to put a nice big healthy scoop of that in there. But this isn't very spicy, and I really don't like real spicy food, but it needs a little something for the sauerkraut balls. So I found this spicy mango chili sauce in there too, and I got these both at Big Lots a while back, and this is too spicy for me. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of this in with that, and between the two of them, it should spice up the pineapple chili and cool down the mango. So I'm going to mix that up, and that'll be our dipping sauce tomorrow. So I wanted to show you that. And let me just go to the fridge here. I wanted to show you what I ended up doing with my cream cheese, which I showed you before, but I ended up putting it in this little bowl and then topping it with green onions. So that's going to go on crackers, and it's very tasty. Okay, just wanted to let you know what I was doing with the rest of this stuff, and cook with what you have. You know, you can go on websites and put in your ingredients and come up with recipes. So, okay, this time I'm really signing off. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.